So you probably clicked on this video thinking like it's gonna be like a nice little like scripted and like nice voiceover story about something inspirational. Well, no, this is just gonna be me and my thoughts. So, a little story actually, but yeah. So basically, 7 years ago, I was like every other normal 12-year-old kid, right? I would go to school, ride the bus in the morning, ride the bus home, and then start hopping on video games, hopping on Minecraft, whatnot. Like, it's just like what all the kids did when I was younger. I don't know if it's still like that, but you know. Then like one night, I was taking a dump, and then I like look down on my legs, and there's like thousands of like red dots on my feet and like up to my knees. So like, being me, I immediately called for my dad, and next thing I knew, I was sitting for 4 or 5 hours in the emergency room, and after like hours of waiting, blood tests, they told me I was gonna get admitted to the hospital that night, and I'd probably have to stay for a while. So, since the age of 12, I've dealt with 5 autoimmune diseases and gotten Lyme's disease twice. Uh, some lessons I learned are kind of like life doesn't give you a heads up. It doesn't like check and ask like what you doing this weekend. It just happens. So, for me, it was mostly learning that my old normal life wasn't gonna come back, and I needed to stop hoping it would get better like the next day, because that next day could just be like years, months later, and then it would be too late. So this is like about like how like I needed to start like living every moment like it was my last. So just some background. When I was diagnosed with my first autoimmune disease, I was one of 32 cases in my entire state. The disease has like no known treatments, no known causes, and like at the time I was kind of like a guinea pig for my doctor. So I would be like treated with like combinations of like infusions, steroids, and over like the course of a few years, none of these worked. I was just like getting fed all this medication for nothing. The worst part of everything was like the side effects. I gained a lot of weight. I was significantly more hungry, depressed. I had headaches and pain throughout the day, and it was like really miserable. Uh, well, while all the health problems were getting to me, I think like the worst part was just like feeling left behind like socially. So every year prior to that, I would play on the same like rec soccer team with like the same group of friends since first grade, and it was like one of the best times of the year because I would get to catch up with like all these friends I no longer went to school with, and we get to hang out, play soccer, and it was just so much fun. But like because of my new condition, I had to quit like all contact sports entirely because I would have risked like internal bleeding, and that would have caused like that could have been fatal or very damaging to my health. So like since then, I haven't played on a soccer team. From time to time, even I wasn't even allowed to go to school, and it was sad. I would like watch my friends like text in the group chat like, "Hey, who wants to play basketball at recess?" or like, "Who wants to go get like food after school?" And I was just at home. Low key, like the best representation of myself I can think of is like Bing Bong from the Inside Out movie. That's kind of like what happened. Um, like with all the time away from friends and home, I felt like I started to like mourn a younger version of myself. I sat like kind of wondering like, oh, is that younger version of myself gonna come back to me one day? Is like life gonna go back to the good times? Even though I was literally like 12 years old, like the good times were like when I was a toddler, basically. Like what? But yeah, it was like tiring. There's a lot of overthinking and spiraling during that time. Um, Everything kind of changed when I was 15 or so, and I got admitted to the hospital to stay a few nights because like the doctor said I was in a critical condition. They basically they proceeded to like spend the rest of the night trying like a bunch of infusions and medications, and then each infusion was like multiple hours. I'd be stuck on the IV and like the little monitor stand with wheels that the IV bag is connected to, and like nothing worked. Like days went on. I was there for like a few days. My dad had been nice enough to bring my gaming laptop at the time, and I was playing like, you remember like Fortnite had the Kevin the Cube Loot Lake event where like the cube like rises out of the lake and then it like becomes like the tornado thing. Yeah, I was playing that in a hospital bed, and that was like low-key hype, but after like the event's over, it kind of got boring, and I was like tired of being in a hospital bed. Like my legs hurt, my back hurt. Finally, after a while though, like the blood looked good enough for them to like discharge me and send me home, so I was like pretty happy. I went to go like sign the papers, or my dad went to go sign the papers and everything. They came in, took the IV out, and I was like literally getting up to leave, and like they bandaged my hand and everything. And then like as I'm leaving, I'm like dripping like a trail of like blood across the floor, right? And then like my whole hand is just like dripping, and then they're like, nah. They stopped me and like put me back on the bed, like put me back on the IV, and it's like, yeah, you gotta stay a few more days, like. And I was just like, I think like I cried a lot growing up, but I don't think I cried as much as that day. So yeah, like I sat there for a while. A few hours went by. Like I was just like bawling my eyes out, but then like finally I decided like, damn, I need to go pee. So I got up, like rolled like the monitor stand with the IV bag out into the hallway, and I was there. I'm like walking down the hall, going to the bathroom, and then there's like a stretcher, like a hospital bag coming down the hall too. So I like move out of the way for the kid that's on the stretcher, and he's like probably like 7. Like, and then he like wheels past me, and then like I make eye contact with the kid, and then he's just like smiling and waving at me, and like clearly like the kid is like extremely sick. He's getting rolled to like the chemotherapy room, and dude's just happy, right? Like I didn't know what to say. Like I kind of just waved back at him and was like kind of in shock, and I was like, damn, he's just happy. So like I took a walk up and down the hall after using the bathroom. Like the place in which they kept me in this hospital was also where they kept all the cancer patients. Even though my condition was not as serious as having like cancer, but like walked up and down the hall. There was like this playroom with a bunch of little kids, all clearly which had been dealing with like some stage of cancer, and like all of them are just happy. Like they're just playing with like like the box with the shapes on the top, and then you like drop the blocks into like the corresponding shape. They're all just like happy, laughing, and it was honestly just like crazy to me that like these kids that were all probably in like a significantly medically worse place than I was were like, they were all just enjoying life and just happy. And it's like whether they like knew like the significance of what was happening to them or not, it was just like I kind of wanted to like be happy like them, right? So like going back, like I kind of realized like I can't keep waiting for this like old life to come back to me, but there was like a new life ahead that I'm wasting if I don't like take advantage of it. So kind of like from that moment on, after I got discharged from the hospital that time, I kind of like stopped putting so much thought into overthinking what was going to happen like 10 years down the road, like even a year down the road, a month down the road, because like I didn't know if I was going to be sick or not. I didn't know how my life was going to go. So like what's always been the most important thing to me since then was just today, like what's happening now, not what's happening tomorrow, what's happening yesterday, but like what am I going to do in like the next 10-20 minutes, right? Like I'm 19 now. I just finished my first year of college. I realized that like you don't own the future. Like you can own your past, but like what you really own is like what you're doing right now. And like really I changed my philosophy to like kind of put 100% into everything I do now, whether it's school, work, sports, relationships, and like most importantly like taking care of myself and my health. Like the most important thing is being healthy, or else like you can't do anything else, Like it's a privilege to get to wake up every day and like get to work. Like I feel like most people are like, oh, I gotta go to work today, I gotta go to school. But like, like for me it's like I get to go to work, I get to go to school, because like there's been worse in my life where I haven't gotten to go to school, and it's like so different. So like so much can change in so little time, so I never know if I'm gonna be sick again, so I try to live every day as if it were like my last, even though that's like kind of like a depressing mindset to kind of live by, but like I think it's really motivating if you like frame it in the right way. So like in the end, like how your life goes is like really like dependent on how you choose to live your life, and I wouldn't live a life that I wouldn't enjoy. So like taking your good days for granted is something that you shouldn't do. Um, it's like why did I end up making this video? Um, I kind of always wanted to like journal and stuff, but I don't know. I'm not a huge writer. I don't think I can articulate my thoughts in words very well on like pen and paper, but like kind of talking about things just kind of lets me dump my thoughts, you know? Like I used to use this channel for dumping like my montages and whatnot, but I guess I'll just use it for dumping my thoughts to my friends that want to hear. Um, like the second thing is also I kind of want an excuse to make like background gameplay like this and play video games again, because I haven't played in a long time. School's been busy. I have the whole summer now, so we'll just see what happens. If you want to see me talk about something, just comment. If you want to see me play any other game, I'm washed, but you know I can play other stuff. So until I start, if I decide to upload again and I want to make this like reoccurring, then yeah. So we'll see. Take care. I guess stop waiting for your life to begin.